Hey everybody and welcome back. I am Titan9 and apologies if I'm sounding a little raspy voiced today. I'm getting over a minor illness, but you're never too sick to play Gundam TCG, so I thought since I'm not doing much else productive in my convalescence, I would come and do another video for you all. And you, dear listeners, seem to be big fans of the Academy list. Both the one I came up with, that's sort of a lot more focused on Nicholas, and the GrittzNGravy Decklist. GrittzNGravy being a subscriber and watcher of the channel, submitted me this decklist that they have been doing very well with. So I wanted to take it for another spin. I did enjoy it too, and after that video, GrittzNGravy gave me a little tips on how to maximize some of my plays. So we're going to take another spin, and this time I think we've settled that it can be a lot more aggressive than your aggro opponents, but what can it do against a deck with a better late game? Can we take over with our cheap units and a little bit of value from rebuild and our commands? That is yet to be seen, but that's why I thought we would do this video. So you could watch, if you look up in the card above, you can check out the early video for more in-depth deck tech, but basically we've got our cheap units that we can rush out early. Choo Choo's Demi Trainer helps us get our commands in the trash early enough for Nicholas to go off, and we can get use out of them later with the aerial rebuild. Obviously for Soletta, and that attack ability that activates a resource lets us play another unit again on the same turn where we play it with bit on form. That is pretty sweet. The other pilot we have is Choo Choo, the character's name in the show, but the command itself is called Iron Fisted Disciple. We get these -2, and then with Unforeseen Incident -3 AP commands that we can use to slow down our aggro opponents. We can also use them to get favorable trades with our opponents that have bigger creatures. Striker Pack, a very useful command. Not a bad one to recycle. Witch in the Bride can help throw off our opponent's game plan and let us kind of get through that in siege play, let us get through some attackers if they have blockers. Corsica Base, a great target for Overflowing Affection to discard, because then we get a bunch of 1/1s and that lets us go wide, and that'll help us get around blockers too. So a lot to like here. Gundam Aerial is a card I'm not crazy about anyway, but this deck list might be able to make best use of it, which would be nice because between beta and the main set and the promo packs, winter packs, I have 16, maybe more. Like, I just have so many of these. And if I had a home for them, that would be pretty nice. So this is the deck list we're looking at now. Again, you can check out the earlier Academy Aggro video from the GrittzNGravy deck list to get a more in-depth experience of the deck tech. But let's go to our opponent today, Blue-White Tempo. This deck is all over the place now, and I have a video about that too if you want to take a look at the card above. A quick and easy deck tech. You've got all the stuff you love about Unicorn blockers in general. You've got your Isle Strikes. You've got your both Unicorn regular and Unicorn destroy modes to take over the late game. You got your blockers in Lefrith. Razel just feels like I want 4 in any blue deck I play. The card's so great. Oh yeah, so real quick, last time the list had 4 Daraball instead of this Razel. I wasn't crazy about them, especially since there's not a lot of -1 AP creatures around that much anymore. Corsica has changed that a bit, but still a bit underwhelming at times, especially with only the 2 defense. It can be hard to trade into a Razel. It does work with our pilots. We could rush with it, but I was thinking of going to 4 Razel. GrittzNGravy had sort of preempted that thought, and they suggested coming to this as well, so I was happy we were on the same page as that. But Razel over here in Tempo blockers, very useful. The thing that separates this from the standard blue-white unicorn packages or even the freedom blockers is we've got a level 2 cost 1 2/2. Here it's a demi garrison. It could be a GM2, so you could kind of trick your opponents on that early turn if you wanted to. Sword Strike, though, a full 4 Sword Strike, great to attack. It links with both the 4 Kiras that are kind of mandatory in any white blocker kind of deck. And then we also have 2 Hawk of Endymions, good by itself against aggro matchups, good to take out damaged units. I've had come up in games a lot to kind of win tempo for a turn and swing for lethal. It also pairs well with Sword Strike. And you can bounce a thing because it's a link unit now. So Resolve, excellent card. Overflowing Affection, excellent card. I've been debating if I should take 1 or 2 away from each of these. Or I guess let me be more specific. Go down 1 Resolve and or 1 Overflowing Affection to fit in an unforeseen incident. I haven't felt the need to do that yet anytime I played it, but it is always in the back of my mind. And then our base is Corsica, a great tempo base. And Nail Argama allows you to get your smaller units through your blocking opponents or to take out problematic units that you want to just get rid of right away. But you could watch, of course, that earlier Unicorn video or Blue-White Tempo video if you wanted to get the full breakdown. But that's sort of the gist. And with that, we're going to jump into some games. All right, so we are here in Meta Meditations. We'll play in Wing Table and we'll do best of 3 to make sure there are no weird flukes. Like that can happen sometimes in the Gundam TCG. Normally, we want to try to play a number, maybe 4 units by turn 4. This does not help us do that. It is a little too slow, and we especially want to be aggressive against our blue-white tempo opponent, or they're just going to get a lot of roadblocks in the way and be able to outvalue us. But we want to outvalue them, obviously. So let us take a mulligan. We have 8 turn 1, turn 2 plays, depending on if you're going first or second. And we found 3 of them. That is exciting. Not commands to bring this Gundam Aerial online early, but I do love a Razel draw. I won't lie there. We're going to keep the EX resource so we can keep getting that value, so we'll play it 2-2. There is, Yeah, you know, maybe I should have played this Choo-Choo's Demi-Trainer, because I'd get to play the 2 2-2s next turn and likely break that base, plus get to discard probably this Gundam Aerial. Yeah, so I haven't played this Decklist since the last time I made this video. I just have been working on other things in paper to get a tour of the meta for the videos I make for this channel. So I bet that thought would have come to my mind had I been playing this Decklist more. That seems like a pretty decent play. I don't really want to rush out the Razel right away anyway, so I really didn't have to conserve this EX resource. Our curve is pretty low. That was a mistake on my part. They've got their own. That's nice of them. Okay. If they want to attack my Demi-Trainer, do I want to use an unforeseen incident on that? Is that a good use of it? I suppose so, right? That's the value. Or would I rather have it to survive some blocking attacks? But again, like, if next turn I play Demi-Garrison and Razel, that's not the end of the world, so... Or I could play that Razel now, because it has a bigger booty. Okay, Razel first. And we'll go after this EX base. And we have this unforeseen incident up if they want to do something about that. Alright, we still don't have to worry about Sword Strike for another turn, and they want to go aggro too. That's fine with us. Oh, they had the Moo, though. Unfortunate. So this is an incident where having those 3 units on the following turn would have been very helpful. So let's chalk this up to pilot error if they end up taking over the game. So like this Corsica base will be good to lose to the Choo-Choo as well. And I guess they could bounce the Choo-Choo if they want to Sword Strike me next turn. That would be unfortunate, but we do have the unforeseen incident. Now, my thing would still die if they have with the Kira. It would still die with the Moo, too. Yeah, the unforeseen incident only helping us against the Demi-Garrison, but they want to go aggro on this, so I'm going to be fine with that. And they have got their own 4-2, but that's not a problem. That we'll be able to do some okay trading with. Oh no, this is -3. I'm thinking of the pilot. Oh, we could just bounce it. With the Witch and the Bride, I don't hate that either. And save our unforeseens. It's a lot cheaper to use if we want to like really hunker down on a turn. Alright, let's go after this base here. We'll discard... well, we've seen all the unforeseen incidents. These incidents, if only we could have seen them earlier. And we'll clear out that base. We don't want to play this aerial yet. We want to try to maximize our value, so we'll just kind of sit on our commands and we'll act. If they want to be the aggro deck, we'll act like the control deck. That's fine with me. Let me see here. I don't have to play the Switch from the Bride this turn, because even if they pilot the Tall Geese, we'll still be able to return it. It'll have the... Oh, no, it's AP. No, it is HP. Okay, great. I can read. Yeah, we can just sit back on that and see if they give us a better target to overthrow or bounce back. Apologies there. And then worst case scenario, we can kind of hold up all of our unforeseen incidents should we, for whatever reason, end up needing that. We're just keeping our options open, and we'll eventually be able to make this Gundam Aerial very cheap and our Mikolas very strong should we ever draw one. But we do have our 4 units here on our turn 4, so at least we were able to recover from my misplays. Alright, so here we will bounce. Bye-bye. Okay, so they are going to get the... that was a great use of that pilot. Because even with the -3, our Choo-Choo Demi-Trainer definitely going to die. That is unfortunate. Theirs will survive. An aggressive use of Banagher. I have to imagine they have better things to do with that thing in their hand, but if they don't want to play it, then so be it. Suletta... I could rush with this Gundam Aerial and still have... I'll have 2, plus it'll attack, and I still could have all 3 open, so even though we're not maximizing our mana efficiency, we don't need to, because we can still play everything in our hand, so it is fine with me. We could also put Suletta on the Razel and clear out that base in 1 hit, but that may not be totally necessary anyway. We could use Suletta and to kill this 4/4. And only take 1 damage, like that could be pretty good, so it doesn't eat any more of our units. And these 1/1s are going to swarm, but so be it. Alright, let's do that. Attack in there. Set of resources active. They don't have a response, so we'll give that -3. And then we'll pass. Alright, and let's finish off the space and still get a shield in. The double Corsica back-to-back, I've had that played against me from many blue decks, and it is a real annoying pain. But at least we had an answer for the Tall Geese. And these Leos won't be able to do any damage. Like, if we still had the Choo-Choo Trainer, like, that would be annoying, and they'd be able to kill it. But they're probably just going to attack us. They seem to be in hardcore aggro mode. We have been command heavy in our hands, which is unfortunate. An unforeseen incident would have been nice. They are in aggro mode. But if they don't have a lot of blockers for us, we could be able to get through them. That is not great. Well, they bounced the thing I can rush next turn, which I don't agree with. But it also had damage on it, and it's going to give us an extra resource when we attack. The Razel would have been better to get rid of, but to each their own. They probably will block one of these 2/2s. I think that's okay. I want to keep the pilot, because I do have some Academy units to rush with. And worst case, if I draw the Gundam Aerial rebuild, I can put this on that, the Iron Fisted Discipline. I always say Disciple. And then we still get the effect of one of our cards back. And Overflowing Affection would have been very nice, but it is what it is. Let us attack here. And they do block that one. We'll just let it eat it. If that's how they want to use it, that's fine. If there's not a base here, we're going to win. Unless they want an unforeseen incident. Oh no, my list doesn't run it, so I don't have to worry about that. Yeah, if they hadn't bounced that, they'd have another turn. Sorry about the AI. This is Wing Table, so I am playing against AI. It's the most efficient way to make these videos for you and to make sure I'm hitting the matchups I want to. And I am a subscriber to the Patreon of wingtable.net, and that gives me a stronger AI, and it has improved over the months since the game is fully released. But it does still make some questionable plays like that. Maybe they were afraid that they couldn't block it if I used one of my commands on, like it's playing around the commands too much to make the smarter play. But it is what it is. We were able to turn this one around after kind of an awkward start on my part. Pilot error. Apologies, GrittzNGravy. All right, let's see what's in their hand. They couldn't play that. They had that Benager still, but maybe this Unicorn wasn't in their hand. 2 Sword Strikes. Yeah, I think I might have... Well, they wanted to get a unit off the board because 1 blocker wasn't going to be enough. Yeah, they were sort of in an awkward position where a lot of their cards cost a lot, and we were able to just get under them. Because they probably should have been trading off with us. I don't know what the content of their hand was early on. Maybe they drew these blockers late, and so they thought they had to go aggro. But you know you have so many blockers and like these Sword Strike plays that you can do. Maybe you are anticipating being able to draw into the control role. But that's all right. Let's go to game 2, shall we? Again, a similar issue as last time. We're just not able to go very quickly here. And Overflowing Affection is pretty good, but we don't have things we would love. Like, these are things we wouldn't love to draw. Obviously, we probably don't need this aerial rebuild anytime soon, but we don't even have another unit to play in case we draw nothing. So we're going to take a mulligan here. Okay, the Razels are at least nice. We're not going to get to play them for a bit. Well, really, next turn we'll get to play... Oh, hey, and we drew the Demi-Garrison anyway. What an excellent draw. Oh, they bounced it back. Well, that's okay. That's not a great unit to bounce back, because I'm not destroying that base anyway on 1 turn, but they're playing a long game, perhaps. The Lafrith is... Yeah, but even if a Lafrith is coming... You don't care about the Demi-Garrison in that situation. Well, there is the Lafrith. I bet they wish they had the Amu for this Razel right now. But they can block. They lose their blockers. Do I want to give this -2? Or is it better to put it on this Mikolas and just rush and attack? Because we have another Mikolas for a later turn. They don't have any pingers in this deck, though. They could bounce it with a Sword Strike next turn. But they will have other targets anyway, because I am going to play this Demi-Garrison. And that resets the health on my Razel, and it only costs 2 on a following turn, so I don't even care about that. Alright. We're going to let the pilot stay in my hand. And we're going to play... And we could just bust this base now. If they want to Sword Strike that, they could clear my board, though, which I don't like. Okay. Play Razel, right? This is what you do, GrittzNGravy, because you want to have a wider board. So let's do that. Okay, well, Razel, we don't care about. We don't care about that. That'll be a little annoying, but the only thing it will kill favorably... No, because we're getting the -2 from the Kira. Oh. We will not use this choo-choo. But we'll have a blocker, so that's not the end of the world. Alright, well, let's clear out some bases and shields, and we can make a decision from there. It still only has 1, the choo-choo Demi-Trainer, and we don't have, like, a great thing to discard to it. Alright, we'll attack here first. The EX base with the Razel. Finish that off in 1 hit. Then we will attack with the Demi-Garrison. And they got a base, and they got to tap our Razel. Oh no! But that's why I put the Nail Argama into the Blue-Eye Tempo deck, for cases such as that. It probably could be okay to rush with the Mikolas, but we're not even going to get to kill it in 1 hit, which doesn't feel great. Alright, if we Mikolas with Suletta, that costs 3, but we'll get 1 of them back, so we'll still have 2 to play a Striker pack. Or we could also rush with the Iron-Fisted Discipline as well. I don't know if that's great. And we are doing the Swarm thing, so that's what we want to do. Even though our Mikolas isn't as beefy as we'd like. And even though we're not going to hit this base in 1 hit. Alright, and we will play this. We are going to do the Launcher Strike. They have less ways to bounce this to our hand. Where obviously, they probably will give this one -2 when they attack, and obviously will do no damage, but it would do no damage if they bounced it to our hand anyway, so. They could Kira Isle strike us now. If they do that, so be it. We played around the other bounce things, though. Okay. I am okay blocking here because there are so many ways to get rid of our token. Even though we don't do any damage to it, we could attack it on the crackback. They only had enough mana to play this Lefrith. Doesn't bother me at all. Okay. Let's clear out the base first with the Razel that hasn't taken any damage. They do want to block there. I'm very okay with that. Now we will take out the base with the Demi Garrison. I'm going to attack... Okay, I am going to play this one unit first, this one Choo-Choo's Demi Trainer, just so when I attack with my Suletta, I will get that resource back. That's value. I'm going to attack with the Suletta first, because there is a chance, depending on what happens when I hit that shield, that I want my Razel to take out their Razel, so they can't keep clearing through my board. I can still play 2 more units this turn anyway. And I would rather... Both units will die. I'd rather have the 4/5 with the Suletta ability versus a already damaged 4/3. Okay. I think it doesn't too much matter what we do. We don't even want... Yeah, we could play 2 more units and refill the board and get rid of one of their attackers. And at worst, they could play 2 blockers. I guess they could bounce back a unit and attack with a Sword Strike. And maybe they have a Moo as well. So I guess that would be the worst case scenario. It still seems like it's better to clear off this Razel. That's just going to be a big monster. Especially since we can replace our Razel. And they do only have 3 shields. If they want to play a base, that eats up a few of their resources and takes a card out of their hand. So we can't clear through it with one thing, which is unfortunate. But who knows what we might draw next turn. We still only have the 1 command in there. We just haven't seen a lot. Is it better to keep the rush unit for next turn? And just like swing in, or do I want the attacker now? I guess I could theoretically draw another unit that would link with Iron Fisted Discipline. And if I don't, it's not the end of the world. I still have the 1 up if playing this as a command would be helpful during the opponent's turn. Okay, we will just play it. We won't worry about rushing it. I mean, we could rush it now. No, I'm going to play... Maybe I shouldn't be... Maybe GrittzNGravy is going to tell me I'm playing it a little too safe here. I just am not overly worried about what they can do with an empty board and 6 resources. Yeah, this was not a scary turn from them. And we did not get something we could pair with this Iron Fisted Disciple, but we should have enough to be able to force our way through. And we might even draw something that can do that, so let's find out. With our first Choo-Choo Demi Trainer attack, we're not going to be able to get 4 commands into the trash this turn anyway, so we will just discard the Corsica. I guess as well we play the Corsica base, try to find them, but I don't think we even need to do that this turn, so let's get rid of that base. We don't need it. We are going to attack with this other one anyway, so we'll see what that yields us. Okay, so we can rush with another unit, should we need to. Because we drew the 3rd Choo-Choo Demi Trainer to go with our pilot. Alright, let's hit the shield, but again, I don't think it will be necessary. Even if that had been a shield... Okay, the only time it will be necessary is if this one here, this last shield, is a base. And it wasn't. It was a pilot, so we'll just let Suletta Mikolas take over the day. Okay, they had a lot of high-cost things in their hand. They could have Sword Striked us, but perhaps they needed the overflowing of... Not the overflow... The Show of Resolve to draw those units. They could have played a base. They had 2 of those. That might have been better, and they get a unit. But then they lose a shield. Sometimes when the AI knows it's going to lose, like on a mathematical level, it will go into like temper tantrum mode, is how I like to refer to it. And it will just play kind of ridiculous sort of plays out of spite, almost. Yeah, the thing I was afraid of, Kira on Sword Strike, they could have done that, killed a unit, bounced another unit. And they would have lived through that, and we'd be down 2 units. So they would have survived another turn, and then they ended up getting that Benager, so they could have done that. They could have put the Benager on the Isle Strike. Yeah, the AI hasn't played perfectly here. I have a lot of quibbles with it, and since I don't want you viewers to feel cheated, let's go again. We did those games pretty quickly, so let's try again. Okay, we are playing first this time, which means we don't get to drop our Demi-Garrison right away, but we do have a pretty decent curve of Choo-Choo Demi-Trainer, Break Brace, into Demi-Garrison and Nicholas. Again, we don't have a command heavy hand tier, but I think 3 units on turn 3 isn't going to be terrible. Obviously, if they play a blocker, that will be annoying. Our Demi-Trainer won't be able to get through that, but I think we should lean into it anyway. No need to take a mulligan here. Okay, we have that unforeseen incident. That'll be pretty nice. If we, then we could just play Nicholas and unforeseen incident, still attack into that Lefrith, and have dealt a fair amount of damage to it. They're really hunting for something. They don't like what their hand is. They burn their EX resource. That's excellent for us. We definitely know a Lefrith isn't coming. They could moo us. If that happens, it happens. It's one less pilot for them to sword strike. There is the moo. Maybe they were looking for that the whole time. I think in that instance, then we'll hold back our Nicholas until we know we're going to get use out of it. We're not holding anything up, but they can't directly attack anything of ours anyway. There is that Lefrith, though. We might very well need our unforeseen incident for that. The Iron-Fisted Disciple Discipline is good for that as well. I would like to pitch a command, but the commands that we have are fairly decent. Okay, I'm going to put the Iron-Fisted Discipline onto the Demi-Trainer, and if they block with the Lefrith, we'll be able to kill it and survive with the unforeseen incident. And then if they want to kill it next turn with the Demi-Trainer, we'll have cleared their base and a shield, plus that'll give us 2 commands into the trash to really put our Nicholas online. And then I guess we could still play Nicholas and attack with Suletta too. Yeah, we might as well, right? We will have the... Okay, no, I have to play the Nicholas first, or I won't have enough resources to do all the things I want to do. It's good I caught that ahead of time. We won't need to do our crazy tricks now, because they will probably block the Nicholas with the Lefrith, but then we'll get to hold up Unforeseen Incident if they want to attack something on the crackback, so that's still perfectly good in my book. Shield is gone, resource is active, they do indeed block. We will take the 2 damage with our 5 HP, it's not a huge deal. They could bounce it, but we just get to rush it again, so it's not the end of the world. Alright, but Choo-Choo, oh. Yeah, I guess I don't need to put that pilot on now anyway, so we can just sit back on it. We could rush the Nicholas if I keep the pilot. Unforeseen Incident is more useful. Witch from the Bride, I think that's the thing I'm going to discard. We don't have anything super exciting to or I could just... No, because I can't play it this coming turn anyway. Okay, I am going to discard Witch from the Bride. We're going to get a command in there. We're going to get to hold up 2 of our commands and perhaps get to play them both next turn. I think that's the way we're going to do it. And we still are going to get rid of a shield. Passing the thing. Oh no. Well, at least I didn't get a token off that Corsica base reveal. Again, we don't have a good way to get through that. The pilots only give +1, and our units aren't super big other than aerial rebuild, but our Nicholas could get there if we can get these other 2 commands in the trash. And find another one for next turn. We will pass. We could put a Suletta on the Choo-Choo Demi-Trainer, and then it becomes a 4/3, and it can survive a lot of attacks. They want to stay going aggro. It's fine with me. I know we don't get our commands in the trash quicker, but we don't need to use them for the sake of using them. I don't feel like we're in a bad position in this game. We get the aerial bid on form, so we get to rush with the Suletta. But I think I will attack... None of these units are going to kill the Corsica base in one hit anyway, so I think I will attack with the Choo-Choo's Demi-Trainer first and see what we draw, and then decide what I want to do after that. Okay, another unforeseen incident. I don't know if we need... I think if we are trying to fill the commands, like, let's put it in there. I'd like to have the pilot, just in case, although I'm not going to rush it on this Mykolas anyway now. Am I overthinking things? Bye, Corsica Base. Demi Garrison's going to get rid of you, and then our Mykolas is going to attack your shields. I didn't set the... Could have had 2 active resources this turn. That was dumb of me. I even talked about it in one of the other matches, about doing that in the right order. Pilot error. I'm not used to playing the deck. So we would have been able to play the Mykolas, put one of our pilots on it, attack, finish off that base, and still hold up unforeseen incident. We cannot do that now. And we only have 2 commands in our graveyard, so I can't even play out this Mykolas now and try to bait some attacks into it and then get both of these commands in the trash to suddenly turn this into a 5/6. But they are only on 5 resources, so nothing terribly scary could happen. Again, we could get Sword Struck and Kira, and even the other Mu could come into play there. That would sort of wreck our day. But it is what it is. I did not play this one perfectly. Okay, they still want to stay aggro, though. They might already be in temper tantrum mode. We'll see. There's the Unicorn, and there's the Benager. They got a card, and they still want to be aggro. Sorry, the AI is not usually like this big of a pain. We just might have such a commanding presence that they're like, oh. Okay, let's attack with our Choo-Choo first. Finish off that base. Draw a discard, so we have full information. Overflowing Affection is a good way to get value out of the cards in our hand. But also I could just discard it and play another command anyway, but I don't really have a reason to do that. I guess just to make a big beefy unit. It's likely we're going to win on this turn anyway, so maybe getting rid of the Overflowing Affection unforeseen incident is fine, and then we can play Overflowing Affection and have that resource untap when one of our Suletta units attacks. Okay, unforeseen incident's gone. Okay, that's there. Overflowing Affection comes in. We will discard the other Overflowing Affection. We're not likely to need either, but at least if we still have our base, we can get 2 units on the field whenever we need to. Our Mykolas, though, has finally become the 5/6. We've been waiting all video for it. It's happened. Let's attack with the Demi Garrison. Pass here. Yamato to hand, so it's good that we're about to finish them off. We are attacking with our 4 AP first in case this last shield is a base. Because then we can finish them off with our rush unit. Though it looks like we could play both of our rush units this turn anyway, so I am glad we held on to this discipline, though maybe that's the wrong way to approach it. Okay, we didn't get to set a resource as active there, but it didn't matter. And their hand has... Their hand's not bad. They did have... Did they play Overflowing Affection last turn? It doesn't look like it. They could have Kira Sword Struck us. I don't know why they're afraid of doing that. That seems odd. I'll have to send the developer a little message and see if they can take a look into that and why the AI might be thinking not playing that is the correct move. The AI in the Patreon version is supposed to plan ahead for what my future moves could be. But I don't know, you killed the Choo-Choo Demi-Trainer, you bounce back. The other one, I guess the other units on the Crackback are going to kill you. Well, then maybe you take out the Aerial Bit on Form with the Suletta, because you definitely can kill that and not die in the process. I don't know, but the deck list does feel like it has legs. I definitely feel better playing it the second time than I did the first time. I'm a lot more comfortable with it. Blue-white tempo is the blue-white deck du jour at the moment, so we felt like we had a pretty good hold on this. Again, they probably should have been a little more aggressive in trading with our units, and then, it's a different gameplay then, but I'll try this on the locals at some point against human players or on Zumbo Sim. That's another great online resource to play against human players. And see how the blue-white players go from there. All right, thanks to GrittzNGravy for submitting this list and for agreeing that Razel is an upgrade at the current meta to Dareball. I think it's a god tier common, and I love playing 4 in any blue deck that I have. Thank you all for watching, and I wish you the best of luck in your weeklies.